everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Teatime Truth Talk with your host, Alicia, and my dad,
Rich.
And today we have another wonderful situation and topic for us today. But before we get into that, as always,
like, subscribe, share. And again, sharing is important because we don't always have to hear the message we hear, but there is always somebody who could use the talk or some of the lessons we talk about, whether it's my videos or this video itself. So make sure you like and subscribe, and of course hit that bell so you know anytime we drop a video on this channel.
Perfect. So for today's topic is called Bringing Friends Back, which works out because not only am I going to help this person who told me about the situation, but also I'm in a similar situation as well, which is kind of funny because we find situations that help other people, but it also can help us in return as well. So the situation goes like this. Hey, I know you have talked about when people should leave in your life, but what about when you look at old memories and realize they were a big part of your life and you end up missing them and kind of want them back in your life? And also, is it wrong to feel that way, especially since you were the one that left angrily?
Well, in this case, again, we can look at the situation that, if you genuinely left for whatever reason. So you said you left angrily. Well, not you per se, but the person left angry. The question is, what was the situation? Because again, bringing friends back is a great thing. You can always, it's a fun thing. But if there was some kind of toxic relationship there, something the friend was doing, something the friends are talking about, you want to be careful about bringing somebody back. Now, I'm going to make an assumption that because she said she left angrily, there was some type of turmoil. That now the question is, she has to look at herself and say, was it I that caused it? Was it a joint effort? Or was it something they did that my anger actually pushed them away and it was something that was best for my relationship? We talk about a world that's attracted to drama. So I know myself that I have been in a situation where I was addicted to it. I addicted sitting around people. People call themselves friends. I've had people who call themselves family, but their entire life was dedicated to blaming, condemning, and then you get addicted to that. And I know with me, it's one of the reasons I keep those people at arm's distance, because as a minister, I made a promise to help everyone. But if they keep coming back into my life and keep talking negative, I find myself being comfortable in that, and I just start going back. And I never want to go back. I always want to go forward. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So she could be missing the friend, but at the end of the day, she has to ask herself, are the friends building her up or tearing her down? Because you want to have your circle of friends that build you up, that constantly are there. And it's not that anybody's perfect, but you have your down days. Hey, I understand you have your down days, but I want you to be happy. What can we do to help build you up? Instead of, that guy, this girl, and that kind of support, that doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the choice she has to make, is find out, she has to ask herself, what responsibility does she take in that situation? Then she has to look at her friend and say, was the part that I took in this situation triggered by something the friend was doing or not doing? And was that a right decision? Now, if it is, and what was going on with her friend was toxic, nothing says that she can't be acquaintances with that person. Say hello, whatever, hang out. But then she needs to know when she needs to walk away or step away for a minute to allow her friend to be her friend. Because again, we can only control ourselves. But how do I say? But she needs to be able to set that boundary to say, okay, I don't want to be a part of this part of it. You want to hang out, have a good time? Great. And then just move on.
Okay. Well, like I said, with this situation, I have a similar thing as well. Because a couple days ago, for us unity terms, we call it divine order. I like to make fun of it and call it the universe. I don't know, but it was very weird, right? So a couple days ago, everyone dreams. So I had a dream about me and an old friend that I used to be very close with in high school and college, up to previously letting them go a while back. and I had a dream. I don't remember what the dream was. I just do remember they were there, but I thought nothing of it until, if anyone who my age, maybe generations older, knows what snap is, if you know that you save a snap in the memories, it will be brought up again like a year or 2 years later on. So I ended up having a snap that involved me and that person, and I kind of posted it, not thinking about it or whatever, because it was a funny snap, whatever. And later on that night, they actually messaged me and we had a conversation, and it was kind of, it wasn't coincident. I thought it was coincidental, but it happened again with another friend where I dreamt about them, and then the very morning they ended up on snapping in an old group chat we had, and I thought it was the weirdest thing. But after that happened, it made me think, it was like I stepped aside from whatever happened between all of us so I can better myself and find betterness in myself. And hopefully they found growth and whatever within themselves, that I feel that I'm ready to let them in. But in the situation now, I'm also where I'm like, I'm not too sure how I want to put it. So I also have a couple questions that regards to this. Whereas one of them is, in the situation I have, who should take the first step?
Well, again, I'm always a person of action. My thing is when you sit and wait, or as they say in personal development, we prepare to prepare to prepare to prepare to prepare to take the action. And it sounds funny, but we really do that. And I was guilty of that, where I wanted to do something. I had to read books, learn, practice, watch videos, do this. But the one thing I never did was take the action to actually make it happen. So in this case, I'd say the same thing. If you truly want to be friends with this person, take the first step. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm good for no, don't be the toe tipper, be the guy that jumps in the pool. But jumping in the pool just means I'm going to take this step and say, hey, let's talk. I miss our friendship, whatever. But even in that talk, you want to make sure that this friendship's going to be beneficial to you. Any type of friendship, relationship should be a symbiosis. It should be give and take.
Oh, science class.
It should be a give or
Shout
take.
out to Brzezinski, science class.
But yeah, and it has to be. So, I would say take the first step, but at the same note, be open and honest about yourself, because you never want to go back. You helped me record that video where I said I quoted Pitbull, and I said he's always, in Spanish, he says, siempre pa'lante no mire para atrás, which means always look forward, never look back.
Mm-hmm.
And, we as a society have a fear of failure, where failure is the greatest teacher. So there's probably a part of people that ask, like you just did, should I? Because part of your mind is saying, if I do it first and she shoots me down, I'm going to be, oh. Whereas you need to look at it as, if I took that first step and she shoots you down, then you got your answer. And guess what? You keep moving forward.
Yes.
Like I said, I've had friends who've come back, and they were people that, they were considered family. And at the end of the day, when they came back into my life, they expected the rich that dropped everything,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't take care of himself. He would push everybody that he cared about aside to make sure that they were taken care of, because a part of him said, the only way this person is going to like me is if I keep doing these things. And now that I've grown and achieved the stuff I have, I understand that if this is going to be a symbiosis, I can help you. I'm there for you. But if all you're going to do is take, and take my energy, I don't have time for that anymore. And in both situations, they wanted me to talk during times. One was in church, and I was doing sound. And the other time I was at work when we were working online. And both times, because I didn't jump, they stopped talking to me. Mm-hmm. In fact, in one case, one person literally turned around and said that you're too good for me, because I didn't answer him within 5 minutes. Mind you, I'm at my job that pays the bills for this place. That's not a friend. So I blessed him and I said, I pray for you and your life and hope things get better. But I also know, being around those people, the only thing they ever want to talk about was this fault, that fault, this, that, and I couldn't do that. So when they reached out to me, I took that first step and said, hey, I missed them. Let me see where we're at. And they pushed themselves away. Whereas, I have one friend in New York that we don't constantly talk, but he always reaches out and I reach out when we have time. And we're talking about a relationship that bloomed when we were both 14.
Wow.
And I'm 51 now. So imagine. So that's a true friend. That's someone that may not always be present, but he's present in his own way.
Okay, I understand. I think another question, it might be the last question as well, is let's say whether for me or for the person who needed this question, they do bring the friend back. How do we set boundaries? Is there a way to do it? Is it to like personal? Because again, like you said, you want us to not bring back the toxicity or whatever you pushed them away originally
Right.
from back into the life.
Again, your job is to change you, not them.
Okay.
But if you do bring them back into your life and you're okay with them, you want to let them know where you're at. So, in other words, like I said with my friends, if I brought those guys back and we're sitting here and that conversation immediately goes to, you know, fudge so and so did this and blah, 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 you know, I immediately will turn it around and say, no, if this is what you want to talk about, then I have no time for this. Let's get back to the positive. Let's have fun. We were playing games. We were, laughing and drinking, whatever it was we were doing. Let's get back to that positive. Let's bring that energy up. You know that when you start talking about drama, as much as people claim to enjoy it, you can feel the energy in that room drop.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas when you're laughing, you're joking, you might be watching a show and making fun of something on the show or having a good laugh or joke within each other within a respectable amount, you feel that energy go up because there's the laughter, there's the energy, there's so much going on. And that's what you want to keep around you. Your mother and I talk about it all the time, how people used to come to our house, and just feel at peace. Heck, your mother came to my house and fell asleep on my couch. You know what I'm saying? And when I was in Rockaway. But it was something that I always brought with me because I never want to feel down. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm human. It's like anything else. When I allow my mind to do certain things, I'll feel my energy drop. So you want to keep people around you that are going to do that same thing. But it doesn't mean that you can't be with acquaintances because at that point, the relationship can be healthy, but they have to also know, oh, you're in a negative space right now. We can talk about it, but understand, I'm going to let you know what you need afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I think I shared that story with you with a lady named Dozy who came to the house, and I was having one of those days, and I vented. She said nothing. And then when I was done, when I took a breath, she goes, "Are you done?" And I was like, I already knew what was coming. And she let me have it very respectfully, very lovingly. But like she said, what would be the point of me just listening if I can suggest something? Now, we can't force nobody. So you want to keep that energy up. So having those people, letting them know your boundaries, because the one person who's going to end up ruining yourself is you, because you're going to allow somebody to break that boundary, and then you're going to find yourself falling back, and then you're just going to live your life in a circle, going back and forth, because that's all you're doing. Whereas if you continuously move forward, yes, you'll stumble, yes, you'll fail, yes, you'll whatever. But like I said, you know this. You've seen the certificates on my walls. You've seen that. I just got yelled at by another friend of mine who's like, "Why ain't you finished that bachelor's degree yet?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to work at it tonight." But those are the friends you want around you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same note, she was telling me her issues at her spiritual center, and I'm like, "Well, hey, I'm doing this. Oh my God, we need that." So that's the symbiosis required. That's the relationship. It's give or take. And I know that you were talking about this book.
Yes. Live a Happy Life. We actually were, not briefly, but I told him about the topic ahead of time. And it was actually quite ironic because he reads to keep up his little daily positivity practices in this book called Live Happy, 365 Daily Practices for Happy Life. And it just so happened that this like little speech thing he had here actually worked with the conversation today. So I'm going to read it to you guys here as well. And it goes, relationships are an important part of life and truly enrich our experiences in living. Each of us is wired to enjoy healthy, productive, reaffirming relationships. I like to say that when it comes to relationships and human interaction, we all deserve to be in relationships where we are appreciated, celebrated, and not just tolerated. Yet all relationships are not created equal. Where healthy relationships help us feel valued, seen, heard, and fulfilled, unhealthy relationships can have potential to rob us of the peace, joy, and unity that comes from walking with another. In order to get the most of our relationships, it really helps to be self aware and self reflective. Self awareness and self reflection enables us to examine the nature of our relationships and potentially better understand who we are involved with. It's been suggested that each of us has four different types of people in our lives: those who add to us, those who subtract from us, those who divide from us, and those who multiply us. Simply put, those who add to us help us do more than the sum of what we do alone. Those those are the people who enrich our lives. The other types of relationships are less desirable. And while you may be able to build meaningful relationships with them, if they change certain characteristics, just remember changing them is not your responsibility.
See, I know a thing or two.
Oh, right? He comes with some wisdom. No. But with that, I felt like that was definitely something to read on here. And with that as well, with the information he gave us and this message, in summary, for the person who needed this, remember, um, if you do want to bring them back and you're missing them, make sure that you're bringing them back, one, for the right reasons, and two, make sure that they're not bringing that baggage or that toxicity that they had previously, so that your path and your mind can keep going back to that positive and moving forward as long as they come into your life. Two, again, take the action. If you really want to see where things go with your friend, take that first step and reach out to them and things like that. Like he said, people prepare to prepare to prepare. You want to just get to there and see where it goes. You might gain a friend again, excuse me, or you might not. But at the end of the day, at least you know you took that step and reached out. And who knows, maybe along the way, they might take it as, okay, they reached out. They needed more time, but now they're ready to reach out and they'll reach out to you. And maybe something will come from that.
Yep.
And then finally, just always remember that if they do come into your life, you are responsible for you, not for them. So if they do bring that toxicity and things like, take a step back, be like, listen, you want to hold on to that, that's fine, but I'm not into that mind space anymore. You take that on your own personal time, and we just keep in that positive energy. And with that, I'm glad y'all came and watched. And as always, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we'll see you next time.